Hey, the Eagles are tied for the best record in the NFC. The division is very winnable if the Eagles win their last two games, and the top seed in the NFC is still up for grabs. How will the Eagles offense match up with Jonathan Gannon's Cardinals defense? We're going to break it down on Eagles Game Plan right now.
Hey, give nothing, take action. 1, 2, 3, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. I'm John Clark along with Ike Reese and Mike Quick, and it's simple for the Eagles. They win their last two games and they win the division. They're still fighting for a lot. Even the top seed is out there. So they finally got a win. How important is it to continue this last home game of the regular season?
Well, listen, I think it's very important. Coming off that 3-game stretch is tough. Q, you know, man, it's first of all, it's hard to win in this league.
Yes.
And when you do get a loss, they just linger forever, man, and let alone having a 3-game losing streak. So I think getting that win last week versus the Giants, getting something positive to build off of is certainly important as you continue to try to be at your best for the postseason.
And the way they got it, you know, it didn't have to be that tight, but you saw a lot of really good play on both sides of the ball. I thought the quarterback was really sharp. I thought Jalen Hurts played one of his sharpest games in terms of where you need to go with the football, taking what the defense gives you, making sure that you get the ball into the right hands. There are all these options in this offense. Well, he was making the right decision almost every time. It looked really good.
All right, and let's go to the offices at NFL Films with Greg Cosell. And Greg, you've been breaking down this tape. Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rollis, of course, the former linebackers coach with the Eagles. Now, the Cardinals are giving up the second most points in the NFL. They're giving up the most rushing yards. But what do you see on film tactically?
Yeah, John, there's no question it's been a little bit of a struggle, but they do some things that are a little different and that you have to be prepared for. And they're still an NFL team and they can still line up and they can beat you. And I want to go to the tape right away and show you what kinds of things I'm talking about. So let's take a look. This is a play from a number of weeks ago, but it's very representative of what they do. And it starts with a 5-man defensive front, and it's often reduced inside. You're going to see a lot of 5-man fronts from the Cards. It's foundational to what they do. Now, the other part of this, though, and this is a little different, you don't see this very much, is they are going to play in the secondary basically 3 across, sometimes 5 across on the back end, almost kind of at quarters depth. So this is the kind of thing that they do. And then always Budda Baker is right in the middle. And he's almost always going to work to the passing strength. And you're going to see that here. Now, a couple of things happen here as we start running this. First of all, they're only going to rush 4, and you're going to see Dennis Gardeck drop out. Okay, he's going to drop out, and you're going to see Taylor Heineke right now is looking to Drake London. And you're going to see Gardeck right in the passing lane. But the other thing is Baker. He's dropped down and he's reading the quarterback. So he's also going to slide over to London. So the throw is not clean. It's not there. Taylor Heineke can't make this throw. So now what happens is the pressure gets there with B.J. Ojulari. So he gets there and is able to sack the quarterback. So it all kind of goes together. They're a little different in how they play in the secondary, and they can create some problems in your reading and your progressions, and you have to be aware of that. It's a little different defensive secondary structure.
All right, Greg, thanks a lot. We'll see you in a little bit. And guys, when you look at the Eagles running game, DeAndre Swift almost had 100 yards. They had 170 against the Giants. The Cardinals just happened to give up the most rushing yards in the NFL per game, 147. So is this a game where you can really get the offensive line going downhill?
Well, I think it's the time of year that you want to run the football, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, so they ran the ball 35 times. 20 of those times it was Swift for 92 yards. And he ran like it was personal. He ran the football like he had something to prove, and he played really well. The offensive line, they were really good, but it's the time of year that you really want to be able to establish the line of scrimmage and run the football.
Yeah, the offensive line is playing great. You need to get those guys to step back in there. Sewell Petta stepping in for Landon Dickerson.
Yeah.
You don't get an offensive lineman's name called during the game. That means he usually played a great game. And it's great to see Cam Jurgens back out there as well. And just to piggyback off Q, and what he said about DeAndre Swift, the thing that I love is that he ran hard.
Yeah.
He ran behind his pads. But I also want to add in the fact that Jalen has become a more integral part of the running game over the last couple of weeks, and I'm loving it. Some of it's by design, and some of it's when he has to sort of extend plays with his legs in the passing game. But the fact that, as a defense, you're back to having to be concerned about the quarterback running the ball as well.
Yeah.
That's going to open up running lanes for those running backs, and I would expect this to continue, especially going up against a team like Arizona who struggles versus the run.
But when you look at the dominance of this offensive line and the way they played last week, it was just amazing, and that's really what you want. If they can dominate the line of scrimmage, even if you're not creating those big run lanes, when they're able to reestablish the line of scrimmage, they push the defensive line off 2 yards down the field. Yeah, you're controlling the football game when you do that.
Yeah, and you mentioned getting that passing game going for over 300 yards. You've got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith once again over 1,000 yards, each of them. They were the first teammates to do that in Eagles history last year. Are we starting to see a little chemistry being built again in the passing game?
Yeah, you're starting to get that rhythm now, and I still believe that it starts with running the football. It's based off of running the football. We know Nick Rallis, we know Jonathan Gannon, the coaches of the Cardinals. If you start to really establish the line of scrimmage, it's going to force him to bring more people in the box. And then when you get those 200 or those 2,000-yard receivers on the outside with man-man coverage, then you're going to really cook in the passing game.
Hey, we got to. Right here today. Hey.
Got to.
Hey, all day.
All day, baby.
Can't wait to see it.
Yup.
I'll be down there with you.
Well, I guess I'll sit on a cooler. Yeah, y'all got the warm bench. I'll sit on the cooler, man. Oh, yeah! Yeah! Hey, do what we do, baby. That's it. Do what we do.
All right, Reed Blankenship mic'd up for that win over the Giants. And let's go back into the offices at NFL Films with Greg Cosell. And Greg, when you look at the Cardinals running game, that's one of the things they do well. James Conner averaging just under 5 yards a carry. What makes him so difficult to bring down?
Yeah, well, he's been their best offensive player, John, clearly. I mean, he is the foundation of what they do. It starts with the run game, even with Kyler Murray being back. And they like to line up and run right at you. Conner is a downhill runner. He's big, he's physical, he's got a little more juice than you might think. And they like to work double teams at the point of attack. Let's go back to last week and take a look at one of his runs. So you're going to see here they're lined up actually with an extra offensive lineman. So they're going to get 2 double teams, duo on the left side, okay? You're going to see that. And then they're going to get the one-on-one blocks with Hernandez. Does an unbelievable job at right guard here. He has the one-on-one block. But this is what they do really well. They move you just enough off the ball. And Conner, you can see, he's got short area burst. He gets downhill, sees the hole, and he gets to the second level. He seemingly has had a big run every single week, and he's really been the catalyst for their offense. He's been the foundation. It starts with him. If they can't run the ball, they really struggle to have any kind of consistent offense.
Yeah, I can see that that's the foundation, G, but when you look at Kyler Murray and his ability to run around, extend plays, and he also factors in to be a part of their running game. Wouldn't you say so?
For sure. I mean, that's the thing. Look, Kyler Murray has not been really consistent since he's come back from the injury. As far as a passer, there's not much rhythm to their pass game. Even when he's moved, he's missed some easy throws with poor ball placement. He just hasn't gotten back to what he was prior. We'll see if that happens. But your point's 100% right. The design run game, that's featured with him. You have to be aware of that. He's also a factor even on handoffs to backs. They use a lot of jet sweeps or reverses, a lot of those kinds of things. And, of course, his movement out of the pocket when he drops back. He can make that special play any time in a game. There's just been no consistency to their pass game.
Yeah, Gene, he definitely still has the arm talent to make any throw. And when he does throw the ball, it's usually going to either Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, or either Trey McBride. I like Trey McBride, this second-year player at the tight end position, deceptively very athletic. Talk about how we're going to match up with him particularly with our linebackers and safeties, as this is one of Kyler Murray's safety valves.
No question. And I remember doing McBride when he came out of college, Ike, and he lined up a lot in college as the single receiver to the short side of the field. And that's one thing you'd like to be able to use your tight ends, deploy them that way, where they're the single receiver, the boundary receiver on the backside of trips. And he can do that. So he can line up anywhere in the formation. You know, it depends whether you want to play man or zone against this team. You might be playing a lot more zone because you want eyes on Kyler Murray. But McBride can beat you, and I think he does have 3-level ability. He's probably their most consistent receiving weapon right now.
All right, Greg, thanks a lot. I know it was a quick turnaround after the holidays, breaking down all the film, but hope you have a good holiday week, and we will see you for one final regular season game next week.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Thanks. See you next week.
All right, and when you look at the Eagles' secondary and some of the things in the moving parts, how impressed have you been with Kelee Ringo playing on the outside? He had 5 tackles against the Giants, defense some passes.
Well, I've been impressed with the defense in general and all the things that they're doing. You know, last week, they show you certain things, a lot of man coverage. This week, a lot of zone and man mix. I just believe that now they have a better understanding of how these guys play, who can do what in the defense. So they're better equipped now to put these guys in the best position to take away the best things that offenses are doing.
Yeah, and I look at Kelee Ringo as a young player, go along with some of these other young players that Matt Patricia has played over the past couple of weeks. Eli Ricks, Sidney Brown getting a little more time out there. But Kelee, you look at his progression over the 3 games, starting in the Dallas game where he had to come in, had a couple rough penalties there that sort of led to some points, and then how he bounced back, the Seattle game. And then to this game, he's gotten better each game.
Yeah.
Confidence didn't waver after what happened on national TV against the Cowboys. Comes back the following week, has the assignment of covering DK Metcalf alone at times. Didn't blink there. And last week versus the Giants, coming up with his first interception. This guy was a big-time player at Georgia, so he's used to making big plays. And I know what that feeling is like, and I'm sure you do, Q, as well, and you got your first touchdown. When you get that first big play as a defensive player, where it's an interception or a sack, you feel like, yes, I am.
That's right.
I am worthy of playing at this level and playing against these guys. So getting that game-sealing interception last week against the Giants, that's going to bode well for his confidence moving forward.
Yeah. A.J. Brown and Darius Slay said he is ready to get in there. And how about Shaq Leonard, led the team in tackles against the Giants? Do you see him getting more and more comfortable with this Eagles defense?
Yeah, and to me, that was never going to be a concern for me because he's a very smart player. He's a very intelligent player. You know, sometimes you can see the plays before they happen, but we all know for Shaq, it's all been about his health and whether or not can he get closer to his old form if his back will allow him to do that. And I thought that's what we saw last week was that not only was he in the right position to make the play, he was able to actually make the play. So he's playing with a lot more confidence, playing a lot faster, and I expect to see him even get better as we continue to go down the stretch.
I thought in the passing game as well as in the run, I thought he and Van Sumeren, the other linebacker, getting his first start, I thought they both played really well.
Hey, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. The Eagles were over 30 points on offense for the first time in a month. They were 10 of 17 on 3rd and 4th down, close to 500 yards of offense. So there was a lot of variety. And here to break down the balance with the run and pass, here's Fran Duffy, some tape study presented by Chickies and Pete's.
And thanks, John. Yeah, I want to look back this week on tape study presented by Chickies and Pete's, the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, at last week's offensive performance against the New York Giants. Nearly 500 yards of total offense against the G-men, and a lot of it had to do with the run game, the RPO game, and the pass game all married together. And that is when this offense is really at its best, is when you have that synergy between all 3 phases of the offensive attack. And this is a great example where you have one play concept, one blocking concept, look a little bit different for the defense, but it's essentially the same look for the offensive line. And this is a bunch of different versions of what is called counter in football. It's a gap style run, a downhill run where you've got a guard pulling as a kick-out block on the defensive end on the play side, and then you've got a backside puller. Here it's going to be Jordan Mailata pulling up into the hole to take the most dangerous man for the ball carrier. Now, what you're going to see here is DeAndre Swift. He's going to be the ball carrier on this counter run, and again, you've got got the kick out from the guard. You've got the tackle pulling up to take the most dangerous man. In this case, it's going to be a blitzer off the boundary. And now you're going to get a nice run here for DeAndre Swift. A counter run goes for 5 yards. That's a successful play. Earlier in the game, you see another counter run where this time, again, you're going to get Sua Opeta blocking the defensive end. You're going to get Jordan Mailata pulling up into the hole. But in this time, you're going to get Jalen Hurts as the ball carrier. This is quarterback counter where Jalen Hurts is going to take this and he goes for 16 yards and a first down. You get good blocking there at the point of attack. Great job by Mailata, by Opeta, Dallas Goedert at the second level, Lane Johnson doing his job. So everybody there on the play side doing their job and getting a first down. On the very first offensive play, you saw the exact same concept here in the red zone after the long Britton Covey punt return. You've got Sua Opeta kicking out the defensive end. You've got Jordan Mailata pulling up to the play side. You've got DeAndre Swift in the backfield. Jalen Hurts, he's making a read here. This could be the Jalen Hurts counter run, or depending on what this defensive end does, it could be DeAndre Swift going to the outside. This time, Jalen Hurts gives the ball to Swift. He goes 12 yards, gets the ball down to the 1 yard line, and the Eagles punch it in on a brotherly shove on the very next play. Same exact concept, but a different outcome. So we've seen a couple different ball carriers, a couple different options, all getting the ball in the run game. But what about when the ball comes out of Jalen Hurts' hands as a thrower? Here in the second half, you've got it's a different formation, right? You've got the pistol set with DeAndre Swift behind Jalen Hurts in the shotgun, but you've got the pulling guard. Here comes Cam Jurgens. You've got the lead blocker. That's Jack Stoll. And this time, Jalen Hurts is making a read. And instead of handing this ball off to DeAndre Swift, he actually throws it to A.J. Brown. This is a run-pass option. It goes for 12 yards, gets the Eagles inside the 10-yard line. Nearly scores there for A.J. Brown. So you've got a bunch of the runs. You've got an RPO. Now how about a play-action pass? And again, you've got the pistol formation with Jalen Hurts in the backfield, DeAndre Swift right behind him. Same exact kind of look here, where you're going to have the guard pulling. And if you're the linebacker, you've seen this a bunch of times already in this game. This looks like it's going to be counter again. I've got to be really aggressive getting downhill for DeAndre Swift, because you're going to expect that you've got a puller coming from the backside. Well, what happens when that linebacker presses the line of scrimmage? You open up this entire middle of the field here, and who's running through the middle? That's number 11, A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts hits him for a completion and a first down. So again, off that same blocking concept, that same counter concept, we saw a straight run from DeAndre Swift. We saw a read play one time where Jalen Hurts kept it, another time where he handed off to DeAndre Swift. We saw a run pass option to A.J. Brown. We saw a play action pass to A.J. Brown. So it all looks the same for the defense, where every single one you have to react to that counter action, but it's a different outcome. And that multiplicity has been one of the driving forces for this Eagles offense for the last couple of years. We saw it here last week against the Giants. We'll see if they can continue that momentum this week against Arizona.
Hey, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. Interesting chess match. Jonathan Gannon coming back to Philly against Nick Sirianni and his offense. Cardinals are 1-7 on the road. Eagles are trying to finish 7-1 at home. And now, call your shot. Has anybody been close the last couple weeks? We're going to get one of these.
I haven't been close.
All right.
But
it's time.
It's time.
What you got?
It's more than time. All right. So I know that the Cardinals' rushing defense is not the best, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going with both of these number one receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They will both get into the end zone in this game against the Cardinals.
All right.
That's a pretty reasonable call your shot right there. I like that.
Yeah.
And you left me the rushing number, so I'll go with the rushing attack. I think we as an offense will rush for over 200 yards in this game. Not only that, DeAndre Swift will get 100 yards rushing, which will put him over 1,000, I believe. So we got all that working for us. The running game is starting to come around the last couple of weeks. I think it continues in this game. 200-plus rushing yards.
I like it.
I like it. All right. And you know what? The Eagles are going to have an opening drive touchdown again. It's happened 2 straight weeks. So let's keep going with that. All right. Enjoy it. Eagles, Cardinals. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. And enjoy the new year. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by Pepsi. Zero sugar. Zero never tasted so good. That's what I like. Toyota, your local tri-state Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy.